I think probably everybody would ask the following question: did a leader emerge at quarterback after 15 spring practices?
Well, it's hard to say like a leader. All of them have leadership qualities. It's hard to kind of take the lead, I think, when you're in a competition. I mean, you can do it in your own way, but it's kind of difficult. We've talked about that sometimes you try to tell them in the spring, don't worry about trying to lead everybody. Lead yourself. I know it's a battle, it's a competition. Do these things together. But it was a great competition. It was a great battle. It's going to go into the fall camp.
Yeah, I don't think anybody expected you to name a starter or anything.
Yeah.
Will you go back and review and determine who is ahead, I guess is the way to phrase it?
Yeah, I think that we will do that. I mean, I think you got to kind of really look back. It's you got to kind of evaluate with the ones and with the twos. And in spring ball, that is difficult because you got a lot of guys out. There's not a consistency, I think, when you're rolling those guys around. So I don't know that it's fair to say who's ahead, who's not ahead, where they are. We know that going into fall camp, it's going to be a competition. Those guys got to work together and hope that we can figure that thing out by the time the season rolls around.
Any position group or position groups really stand out this spring?
Well, I think that off the top, I think that you think about the defensive line, a lot of guys that they're losing and they're going to miss. Obviously, even with having Malik Van out all spring. And those guys have really stepped up. I think that I don't think there'll be any drop off of any sorts. I know the depth might be one of those things that we've had for the last 2-3 years. Really fortunate to have, but I think we can be every bit as strong and maybe even stronger up front defensive line-wise.
Bigger coaching turnover than you've had here. How did things go where that was concerned this spring?
That was I'm really happy about. And to put those guys in situations, they're walking in like some of these young guys. Like they've been a lot of places, they've done a lot of things, but they are walking into maybe a new and different culture, and one that coming off the year that we've had and the last couple of years we've had, and the expectation. Those guys have meshed in really, really well. Whether it's James Ross, who came in here halfway through spring ball, or Coach Cummings and the rest of the guys that were in here maybe in January, February. I really, really like the way that they're meshing, not just with the coaches, but with the players as well.
You got 9 early enrollees. Did any of those guys look like somebody that could play right away?
It's hard to tell. They definitely got a lot of reps, and I think those guys probably would tell you that maybe they got a little bit more than maybe even they've expected. I think maybe on the defensive line, I think that sometimes it's a little bit easier to kind of get your feet wet and just have some natural abilities that let you walk in and have a chance to play with, CJ and Tyler Gillison and those guys. But I think, with where we are as a team, the depth we've had and have created, I think it's hopefully any freshman walking in is going to have a hard time, probably breaking into the lineup.
You ended with live special teams. Describe why you do that and your reaction to Jabari Taylor winning it with a 40-yard field goal.
Well, a lot of people would say, well, you're not going to go live on these things. You haven't done it really all spring, and the reality is, it's not the guys taking the reps maybe that you would expect. I surely did not need to see Tyler Scott or Trey Tucker return a kick. Didn't need to see Wilson Huber or even Threats, Brian Threats, who's a freshman guy, run down on a kickoff. We've seen those guys do it in the games. So we get a lot of other guys some opportunities to run down, do some things. We want to really test the kickers. We want to really test the return specialists, especially the punt guys, just to be in a live situation and how they handle it. And then obviously the kickers in particular. And I don't know if we would say we've got a second or third kicker in Jabari Taylor, but pretty impressive to have the confidence to step up there, say he can do it when the game's on the line, and then actually make it.
You said one of your goals was to build camaraderie. Do you feel better in that area than you did maybe 2-3 weeks ago?
I do. I think that we've still got it's a huge summer for us. And I know we've got a little bit of a break here, but what Coach Brady and those guys do in the summer to kind of build the true tightness, the trust, respect, and love of our team. We created that healthy competition. I challenged them between the offensive and defensive line in particular this spring. And you're seeing a lot of those things start to mesh together. But with losing, Desmond Ritter and some of those guys, and Ahmad and Kobe and those guys, the biggest thing I worry about is how all that stuff meshes together. Leadership kind of defines itself. It's not, well, he was a leader before, he's a leader again. No, every team kind of adjusts and changes. And if you're a great leader, you got to be able to adapt and adjust with them too. So I think that we're in a good place, but this summer's going to be really big for us.
How did the Jabari field goal attempt? He volunteered to
Well,
do
we
it?
had a coach that said beforehand, I had heard that if it came down to it, he could make a 40-yard field goal, no problem. So we challenged it. I offered that for a winner loser, and they took it, and he was not very good, and it was not even close. And then they wanted another shot at it, and Jabari literally stepped up and said, "I can do this. Watch, I'll do it. Let me give you an opportunity." And I'm like, "There's no way he's going to do this." So we'll go ahead and give him a chance to do it, and he'll embarrass himself too. And he proved me wrong. So they gave us an opportunity to put Ko back out there and make him try to make a 56-yarder, 55-yarder or something, just to put a little pressure on him.
The cornerback room, you lost, Sauce and Kobe. How do you feel like they performed during the spring ball?
It's kind of that same thing. I mean, they roll. I thought Coach Combs did a great job really rolling those guys all around. So it wasn't like you can consistently say who's going to play into the boundary and who's going to play to the field. Corners were playing nickel, nickels were playing corner. I think all of them competed really well. I think that we'll have a great competition going into the fall. I think that we'll probably play more and be deeper than we have been. Obviously, can you say you've got a Kobe and a Ahmad? I'm not saying that, but I think that going in after the spring, by committee, we're going to have a lot of guys to be able to work with that might even be deeper than we have been in the past.
This guy's potential seems to be pretty impressive, just his length and height. And what are you seeing from him out there?
I think Nick's done a great job. I think the unique thing is when a guy comes into a program, one that has been successful and established a little bit like we are. I think it's a tough situation, and I can tell you that he walked in here with an incredible attitude. Didn't say a whole lot, just went to work, and I think he earned the respect of everybody on this team, me included. But I still think this is going to be a big summer for him and how he meshes with everybody, and to be with Coach Brady and those guys for the next 3-4 months, to give him an opportunity to play his best ball. Thanks.
Thank you.